Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us for this first installment in Deism Radio. This is your host, George Crowder. How's everyone doing today? I'd like to start off, obviously being the first show, I'd like to explain what the radio show is about. Essentially, we explain Deism a little bit and answer questions and attack some criticisms of Deism and ask some very provocative questions about theism and atheism and see how those types of beliefs can be illogical. Now, I'm not here to say that Deism is the correct way, as it is what I believe is the correct way, since that is what my logic tells me. Now, obviously there are people who believe in atheism because that is their logic. Now, you'll notice I will not have that much difference between atheism and deism, as I believe that for the most part, most atheists are deists who call nature something else and don't consider it God. Now, that being said, I'd like to first answer one question that I got while I was putting together the show. Why believe in a God at all? Why not just skip the step from deism straight to atheism? Well, the way I look at the universe, it isn't some random chance. Obviously, I don't want to run into creating a straw man fallacy. Obviously, that's not what atheism believes, but see, I believe that the universe itself is God. The laws are God. Now, I'll first start off by saying a disclaimer of sorts, that this is my brand of deism, as unlike Christianity or Islam or any other theistic religions, I cannot possibly claim that there's only one way, since obviously there is one way. I just can't claim that I know that way. This is just what I believe, simply because there is no doctrine written down, there is no deistic Bible. Therefore, I can only say what I observe and witness and say that that's my belief. So this isn't a show saying that this is how deism is and it's the only way it has to be. This is the way I see it, because deism is very personal. Now, I'll go ahead and explain why I believe that there is a God out there. And of course, you usually hear, when you talk to a creationist, young earth creationist, or a Christian, or such, you hear, well, if there's a creation, there must be a creator. Not necessarily. You might also hear the watchmaker argument, since life is so complex, there must have been a designer. Well, I don't subscribe to that belief either. However, what I do subscribe to is, I do believe that there is a transcendent order, a transcendent law, that transcends our universe into existence. Okay, now I'm going to use the word existence because that shows everything that exists, not just our universe. So, for example, if there are other universes out there, I'd like to say that it transcends into those. Now, I do believe that we aren't a complete rolling of the dice trillions of times until we happen to show up in this universe, and there's trillions of other infinite number of universes out there. I do believe that there probably might be other universes out there, but I do believe that there must be a creative force out there. Now, not a force, but a property. That the universe itself, existence itself, has a creative property. Not just a creative property to create suns and stars and planets, but a creative property that eventually will lead to life. Now, a little background on myself. I graduated with a doctorate at Harvard for physics, and now I work at the Dudley Observatory. That being said, obviously I can't make these claims without having some sort of evidence. Now, you might have thought I would say proof. This is something that most creationists use, that word proof. Proof does not exist, first of all. In science, you may hear it, but there really isn't any proof for anything. There's only evidence. For example, let's say that we believe that the Earth is round. There's no proof. Okay, there's evidence. Now, the evidence could either be very circumstantial or it could be concrete evidence, such as a satellite image. Now, let's say we are in the 1920s, before satellite imagery. No one ever had concrete evidence that the Earth was round, except for the fact that there was some evidence we sailed around the world many times. Obviously, that evidence is there. That's pretty concrete evidence that the Earth must be round. If every time we sail around, we never fall off or we never come up to something new. It's always the same once you make one round around the Earth, one circle around the Earth. Now, rewind it back before Columbus. Most people wrongly believe that Columbus proved the Earth was round. He did not. It was believed that the Earth was round way before him. Now, before Columbus, there was only evidence that the Earth was round. The curvature of the horizon, the fact that the ships went over the horizon, differences in shadow. For example, you can see at noon down a well all the way to the bottom in some parts of the world, and in some parts you cannot. And you can actually use the differences in shadow to estimate the size of the Earth. Now, that's evidence. In itself, one piece of evidence, like the shadow going down the well in one place and not in the other, is not enough. Obviously, there could be other reasons for that. But that also coupled with a curved horizon, ships going over the sea, over the horizon and coming back, and many other pieces of evidence point to one outcome. Now, how do I apply that logic to God? The way I look at it is, there is some circumstantial little evidence that this theory, if you want to call it, is true. But I have come up with a couple things that must be found in nature for this idea of a creative property transcending the universe and transcending existence to be real. Okay? First, we must be able to find life in the rest of the universe. Not in a Earth that looks like this, because obviously a planet that looks like this, obviously if we find a planet just like this, there probably will be life. But we need to find a completely inhospitable area in the universe that our life could never have evolved or come about, but yet we find life. Not life like ours, with the same sort of metabolism as life on Earth, but some different way. Essentially taking different raw materials and coming up with life. Essentially, life has to be able to arise anywhere in the universe, any way, because that's how the universe is.